And we are live. Perfect. What I need to do is get a better MacBook stand and get some slides in from Google.
You know we have our life in the background. Can we have a...
Yeah. Can we? You might want to close the
live?
tool. And also yeah, perfect. So we remove that. We remove that. And you know what? I didn't even plug in my Super Yeti. My Super Duper Yeti. Because I don't have. It was quite hectic today. Welcome, everyone. Happy lunch break. Welcome to Sales Nation. No, actually, I do have it. Right, so let me just check if I plug that in here. If you guys can hear me. I probably need to change the audio here. Go to Yeti. So if you guys can hear me and see me, just drop a comment below. That's much appreciated. And let me introduce you to the lovely Miss Ellie, the beautiful, gorgeous Miss Ellie, joining me today. Fabulous. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Helping me out with some comments on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And also, we've got quite a great topic today. I hope you can see it in the live. Yeah, it's about pain point questions. And while I do that, let me go live on TikTok as well. But since we need to focus on there it is. Okay, let me go live here. So 2 things I am talking about today. Number 1 is pain points. And I'm going to give you, I think we have 8 or 10 questions that you can ask in your discovery calls, which unveils and reveals more of the pain points of your prospect. It's all part of the probing sales framework. If you want to learn more about it, there's a ticker below. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Let me just go live on TikTok as well. So we have pain point questions in B2B sales. How has your week been? Drop us a comment below if you're joining us. Thanks so much for joining. Drop a comment below. How's your week been so far? How many cold calls have you made? Hopefully not as many. Not as many. In B2B sales. Actually, okay, done and dusted, and we're going live, and we just need to see if you're there as well. Pain point questions today. Pain point questions today. Was there an interruption? I hope not. I hope the connection works. Pain point questions. Common setting. Perfect. There you go. Okay. Everybody ready on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok? Been a while since we've been live on TikTok. I tried to go live on Instagram yesterday. And that was my first live in 2 or 3 years on Instagram. That was kind of fun. Pain point questions. Why is it important for us to ask for little bit here and there. Sorry about that. And I really don't know why. Connection is fairly good. I think we need to change the Wi-Fi completely in the office. Anyway, why is it important to have prospect? Is what they are doing, why they are looking for a solution now, and so on. As soon as we have pain points uncovered and revealed, we can lead and control the whole conversation in a new direction, meaning to the close. Because we know when we talk to a prospect that our solution can solve their problem. Otherwise, why would we waste time with a prospect? So don't do that. Don't waste your time with prospects who are not in the market. And we have on YouTube, and it's also part of the Probing Sales Framework online training program, the three stages of the buyer market, right? So who's in the market, who's a good target for you as a prospect, and who should you avoid at all costs. So go check it out. Link is below or in the bio. So we need and we want ideally to know what it is that our buyers and our prospects do, what they are missing out on, how much is it costing them, what's the cost of not doing anything. There's always a cost of not doing anything. The question is, are they willing to pay the price for it, right? Is what they get in value more than what they are losing? That's it. That's the only decision that they need to make. Is what we put in getting us more value out of it than the status quo? If the answer is no, then they will never buy. They will never buy from us. Never is a big word, but at least not at the moment, right? So we need to understand the pain points very, very carefully and thoroughly, so that we can then control and lead the conversation and ask follow-up questions based on the Probing Sales Framework to uncover more of that pain, of the need, and then go in for the close. So we've prepared. Let me just see. Can I add that to the stream? I can. If you're watching on TikTok, I'll talk you through it. We don't have a screen share on TikTok yet, so let me just see the layout here. Let me just play around with the layout. That's actually not too bad. That's not too bad. Let's leave it at that. So we have pain point questions, and we know that it's important to know the pain points of our prospects. Otherwise, why are we even talking to them? And our discovery calls that's exactly why we have discovery calls, right? We need to find out, what do they need? Where do they have a problem? Are they aware that they have a problem? And if not, can we make them aware that they have a problem? That's our job in sales, right? We know that they have a problem from our account-based marketing strategy, the account entry strategy. We know that they have a problem, or at least we make a very good assumption that they have a problem from all the information that we get from LinkedIn, from their website, from PR, from funding events, from change management point of views and factors, and so forth. So we have a very good indication that they have a problem, or they are running into a problem. And ideally, we have the tools and software and solution and the product and the knowledge to solve these problems, even before they occur, ideally. So in the discovery calls, when you're in sales, I assume you're in sales. Otherwise, why would you join us for lunch break? So you're in sales, probably an SDR, maybe a BDR, account executive, even a sales manager who's looking to upskill or reskill your sales team. So the discovery call is basically the best way to really win a deal or lose a deal, right? As we say, we want to qualify fast and disqualify faster, right? That's always the balance that we have. If we can qualify fast, perfect. But if we can qualify faster, that's even better, because then we are not wasting our time with window shoppers, with people who are not in the market, who are not our target audience, and not worth having a conversation with. I have to spell it out that drastically, right? Because I see a lot of sales teams just wasting a lot of time with the wrong buyers, with the wrong prospects. So we want to eliminate all of that. We want to free the time, the productivity, free up the time, free up the productivity, and increase the productivity of our sales teams. Pain point questions. That's one part of the discovery call. Yeah. And if you know the probing sales framework, it's just one part of what that entails. But we look at that in detail right now. So let me just see if I can move to the next slide. Perfect. Before we start, let's just have a look at the conversation wheel, all the elements of a sales conversation, a sales call that we want to tick ideally. It starts with the situation or the status quo. It goes around clockwise about the buyer's motivation and their aspirations, change prevention, change facilitating factors, selection criteria, and then consent creation in their organization. And all of that is based on the buyer journey as well. So we need to have in mind the conversation wheel, but also the buy journey. Because if we talk to someone who is happy with their internal workarounds, then we're going to have a harder time to close them, even if we ask the right questions. But if someone is happy with what they have right now, then we are putting in a lot of time and effort to convince someone who does not know that they have a problem, right? So that is part of the problem why we have sales cycles that are that long, because we're talking to the wrong people. But that's a strategy decision that needs to be made from management and leadership. That's not what we're talking about, at least not today. So conversational wheel and the buyer journey, all of that combined means we have the probing sales framework conversation playbook. And part of that is the pain point questions. And without further ado, because we're 13 minutes in, I'm going to keep it brief on this beautiful, rainy and sunny Tuesday. Welcome to Britain. Anyway, pain point question. Around 10 questions. Let's start with the first one. Just make notes, take pen and paper, copy and paste that, and try it out in your sales calls this afternoon. How are you handling X right now? That's a typical status quo question, right? We need to know, what are they doing around X? How are they handling X right now? How are you handling X right now could be a value proposition question. Or if you reframe it in what are you doing around X right now, that's basically just a status quo question. So you can do it both ways. Next question. If you grab pen and paper and make some notes, let us know in the comments. If you want the slides of this, let us know in the comments. Drop a comment below with slides. Then we will get in touch with you and make sure that you'll receive these slides. How are you handling X right now? Next question. What stopped you from seeking other solutions until now? Right? What's stopped you from seeking other solutions until now? Why, dear prospect, have you been happy with an inferior solution and workaround up until now? So we want to know their motivation, right? What stopped you from seeking other solutions until now? If you have pen and paper, fine, make some notes, write it down. If you want the slides afterwards, drop a comment below on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Comment below with slides or DM me. Thanks, Ellie. Yeah, DM me to get the resources. Get in touch with us on TikTok to get the resources. That's absolutely fine. What stopped you from seeking other solutions until now? Next question. What has changed that makes it necessary for you now to look for other solutions? What stopped you until now? And what has changed that makes it necessary now to look for other solutions? So we get the aspiration and we get the motivational factor, these elements, into these questions. What has changed that makes it necessary for you now to look for other solutions? Next question. Pain point question. For those of you who joined, we are looking at pain point questions right now. Why is it important to ask pain point questions? Well, we need to establish a pain. We need to establish a need in our B2B buyer, in our dear prospect, and we need to facilitate that awareness in our buyer, the gap awareness of where they are right now and where they want to go and why they can achieve that faster, more cost effective, and better with our solution than with what they already have, or with what they are looking at if they are talking to some of our competitors. And we bet that they do. We bet that they do. But as we said over and over again, the probing sales framework, the way we lead conversations and phrase and reframe questions is a unique selling point, is your competitive advantage, because everybody else, all other sales teams out there, probably have been trained on traditional sales methodologies like spin and band and snap and whatever is out there and has been out there. So if you lead your sales conversations differently and ask different questions, better questions that provoke critical thinking, that's why we called it the probing sales framework. Probing means to invoke critical thinking. That is your USP. That makes you stand out from all the other competitors that they are talking to, right? The way you have these conversations with him, the way you have you ask the questions, that makes you stand out. That alone makes you stand out. Because if we are honest with each other, any product and service is just a commodity. There's not really anything new out there. Occasionally, yes, there is. But if you're in SaaS, if you're in tech, if you're in education, everything is a commodity. And the more advanced technology gets, the more access we get to different information, to different platforms, to different ways of gathering information, the more of a commodity our services will be, right? So we need to have something that sets us apart from that feature, apart from that benefit, apart from X, Y, Z. The X factor in standing out from the competition is how sales reps and sales teams talk to prospects and buyers and how they help them facilitate purchase decisions faster, how they help them get through their own buying process. That's what differentiates great businesses nowadays. And that's also how you can stand out from all the big guns that you're up against, right? Depends on the sector, but there are big boys out there, behemoth companies out there, you know, the CRM companies, cloud companies, all of these companies that's been around for ages, and now a new startup comes in. Well, they can't beat them at their own game, right? They need to do something differently. And that is one piece of the puzzle, how your sales team approaches potential buyers and how they have conversations, the way they have conversations, and the outcome will be better. Next question, pain point question. What would it mean for the business if everything stayed the same? Well, we're basically asking here, if you did nothing about it, what would that mean for the business? What would that mean for the decision-making committee? What would that mean for your team? Well, it could mean that they have to work overtime. It could mean that they have costs that continue being on the books, and they shouldn't be on the books. Something like that. So we want to find out the alternative of doing something, right? So basically we are asking what's costing you, what is it costing you to do nothing? That's what we ask here, slightly different, in a slightly different way. Question number, I don't know if it's number 8. I lost count anyway. Just keep writing down. I don't know. How does a new solution impact workflows and processes? They have internal workarounds. They already work. If you don't have a CRM, you have Excel spreadsheets, right? If you don't have a scheduling tool for social media, you have the free Buffer or Hootsuite. If you don't have an in-house sales development, sales enablement team, sales training team, you can go to YouTube. Tell your sales team to go to YouTube and watch some videos. That's workarounds. That does not mean that they work perfectly. It only means that they give you, or that they give our prospects, some sort of solution for a problem that they have. It might not be the ideal solution, might not be the best solution at all, but it is a solution. And that's what we're always up against. We're always up against something that is already there. And again, if they don't have a tool, if they don't have a chat tool, they have email. If they don't have a CRM, they have spreadsheets. If they don't have something like ClickUp, they probably have a lot of meetings. It's a workaround. Doesn't mean it's perfect. It just works for them, right? So that's what we're up against. And that's what, if we ask that question, we already show our prospect that we understand that bringing in a new solution will have an impact on the workflows and processes. We know that. They know that. So we bring it up early in the conversation, in the discovery call, because that can be a resistance, that can be an objection, right? Further down the line. And we want to bring all the objections to the earliest possible point. And we can't wait for the prospect to bring them up, because then we're in the reactive position. We want to be proactive. We want to say, I know you have that objection. I know that this is coming up. So we ask that early on in the discovery call. And following that, we can ask a question like, how would you know if everybody in your team was open for changes? Because that will be a problem. If it's a tech team, if it's sales teams, if it's marketing teams, they have their ways of doing that. And these ways have grown over the past years, maybe. So who are we to come in and then all of a sudden suggest that they do it differently? Not everybody will be open for changes. But by asking a question like, how would you know if everybody in your team was open for changes? That provokes critical thinking. So maybe the prospect already knows that they will get some resistance, some internal resistance. But by asking that questions, we show that we know and we care. We show that we know and we care. Because we don't want to come in like a nuclear bomb and say, this is it. This is your new workflow. It doesn't work like that, right? And human beings are creatures of habits. It's so hard to establish new habits. And a new process, a new workflow is a new habit, right? I don't click here, I click there. I don't click twice here, I click only one time there, you know? So we need to know, we need to show that we know and we care what's going on in their organization. And we not just sell anything, not just trying to sell something. We want to sell the right thing. We want to sell the right solution to the right buyers that get the most out of our solution. Almost through here. With solution, that's your solution. With solution X, what are you, can't even speak, Can't even read. Let's try that again. With solution X, what are you looking to achieve? Or you could also switch that around. With solution X, what's your ideal outcome? At the end of the implementation, what's your ideal outcome? Yeah. So that goes into the aspiration, about the objectives that they have. Objectives, not objections, objectives, the goals that they have. What does our champion want to achieve? And following up with that question, we can also ask something like, do the budget holders or decision committee have the same goals? Maybe they have completely different goals. We don't know. But we already know that we have to talk to more than one decision maker, to more than one buyer, one champion on the other side, especially if we're in B2B sales. We know that we have to deal with, on average, 8 decision makers. So we bring that up immediately in the discovery call. We bring it up, right? Do your budget holders or your decision makers have the same goals? Are they on the same page? That's what we're asking. And if they're not on the same page, we need to work together with our champion to get them on the same page. So that's what we need to understand. Maybe they have completely different goals, right? Maybe they have completely different goals that are contrary to what our champion wants. So then there's no deal. Then there's no deal. At least not yet. Maybe not for another year or another 2 years or 3 years. We don't know. That's why we need to ask these questions. Next question. Pain point question. Next pain point question. Does proposing solution X strengthen or weaken your position internally with budget holder or decision committee? That's a good one. That's a good one. You've got to be careful with that question, because we don't want to put off our prospect. But for you, at the right time, it's important to know what their standing is with their budget holder or their decision makers, right? It might be that they want a solution X just for them, but proposing that could mean that they would lose standing or lose their face. Maybe they proposed something similar just 3 months ago. It completely crashed. And so how likely is our prospect now to propose something similar? Well, they will be very averse to propose anything like that. And that goes out. That question is, I would say, if you're doing outbound, that's a better question in outbound than in inbound. Because in inbound, we already have, to a certain degree, we know that there is a buy intent. So we know that they might have talked internally and created consent about the gap that they have. But also, I wouldn't hold back. We can ask that question in inbound as well, because we need to know. We need to know how we go about bringing all of the decision makers on the same page and bringing all of the budget holders on the same page. So it's a question that you need, or you want to drop very, very carefully. But the outcome, the result, the answer to that question is very important for you to know in sales, because then you can think about the next steps. And then you realize, is there even a deal or not? Right. Almost 30 minutes. And I'll wrap it up right now, because I don't want to keep you from your lunch break and your afternoon business. Question that you can ask, what would you or your team or your business be getting differently from a solution like ours compared to what you have right now? It's less of a pain point question, is more of an aspiration question, or also a motivation question. What do they get out of it, right? I would say this is one of the questions that you can ask towards the end after you have dug deep into the pain points, because the motivation to get away from pain is bigger than the motivation to get to pleasure. Psychologically, we as human beings want to get away from pain more than we want to move towards pleasure. So that's the motivation to get away from pain is always bigger. That's why we want to ask these pain point questions, and more pain point questions than result and outcome questions. Result and outcome, absolutely. We want to ask that as well, for us to know what they're looking to get out of that solution, to get out of our or the collaboration with us. So we need to know that, to set expectations. But in order to move the deal forward, to get them to an understanding that they should be doing something different, for example, charge the MacBook, which I haven't done. That's why we're wrapping it up right now. So the motivation to get away from pain is always bigger. That's why in sales we focus as much on the pain as possible, right? What is the cost of not doing anything? What's their cost of not going with our solution? And with the probing sales framework, you can draft that sales script and that sales conversation and the questions that you want to ask very, very precisely, and you guide them and lead them through from beginning to the end, and the end is usually a close or a next step, right? So that's it until my MacBook runs out of juice. Thank you very much for joining this live. If you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, please drop a comment if you have any questions. If you are on TikTok, do me a favor, go to our profile and give us a like, and you will be give us a like and follow, and you will be notified next time when we go live for our next B2B sales lunch break. I don't see any comments coming in. Let me just check the private chat here on our streaming thing. No, nothing. Okay, perfect. So let's get that out. Get that out of the way. Where is it? That's it. Thank you so much for joining in. 33 minutes in. That's enough for a lunch break. I hope you have more than enough questions to ask your prospects in your next discovery calls this afternoon and this week. We'll be live again with the next lunch break at 12:45 weekdays on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitter, and TikTok. We'll see how it resonates with TikTok. Anyway, every day, one specific topic that helps you succeed better and more in your discovery calls, in your sales role, to get you to more revenue, to qualify fast, disqualify faster, and close better. Thank you very much for joining in. Have a great and successful afternoon. See you again tomorrow at 12:45. I'm your host, Josef Reisz. This is Sales Nation's Lunch Break, proudly presented by Honeycomb Agency. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.